During the campaign, Donald Trump promised over and over again that he would not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. He said he wouldn't cut it. He said he'd, quote, save Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security without cuts. That is one of many quotes where he was crystal clear. Now, they released their new TrumpCare plan, the Republican version of healthcare. They're going to replace Obamacare with this, they say. Trump is behind it, and Paul Ryan's behind it, and so the Republican Party owns it, Donald Trump owns it. So the Congressional Budget Office is the nonpartisan branch of government that grades these and tells you how well they're going to do. And by how well, they just tell you the numbers. Hey, here's what's going to happen with the number of insured. Here's what's going to happen in the deficit, the average premiums, and that is their best estimate. Now, in the past, when Donald Trump, when they've had estimates that were against the Obama administration, Donald Trump loved the CBO and said they were exactly right. Well, a lot of people were wondering how they would score this. First important fact, turns out over the next 10 years, the Republican version of healthcare is going to cut $880 billion from Medicaid. You said you wouldn't cut Medicaid at all. You're going to cut it by almost $1 trillion. So that is a devastating lie. And if you voted for Donald Trump and it was because you were worried about lying Ted and crooked Hillary, well, how do you like this whopper of a lie? He said another quote. I mean, I've got dozens of these, but he said, I'm not going to cut Medicare or Medicaid, period. Oops. Okay, so that's the Medicaid cut. Now, the big number that everybody was looking for is how many people will lose their insurance? In the beginning, of course, Donald Trump said, I'm going to cover everybody. It's going to be fantastic. Nobody's going to lose their insurance. I'm going to cover even more people than Obamacare. Of course, that's preposterous. The plan that they released does no such thing, and everybody already knew it. One estimate said that it might cut 6 to 10 million extra people off of healthcare insurance, so they would be uninsured. Another one, I think it was from Bloomberg last week, said the CBO might estimate that it is as much as 15 million people who would lose their insurance. Well, the numbers came out today. Let's find out what they said on that count. 24 million people will lose their insurance over the next 10 years under Republican legislation being pushed to repeal Obamacare, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office said on Monday. Let me repeat that. 24 million people will lose their insurance. Now, when Obama said that everybody would get to keep their exact same plan, that was a foolish thing to say because the plans are going to change. Now, everybody kept a plan. More people were insured. 20 million extra people were insured. They didn't have the same exact plan. And what happened? The media came down on them like a ton of bricks. Republicans were furious. I didn't get to keep the same exact plan. He lied, he lied, he lied. Now, your guy said everybody would get insurance, but 24 million people are not going to get insurance, are going to lose their insurance. He said he wouldn't cut Medicaid, he's going to cut it by nearly $1 trillion. So I guess your guy is 1,000 times worse, a liar. Let's just keep it real on that. Even if you love this plan and you're like, I don't care about the poor, I don't care about the elderly, I'm young and healthy, I think for now, so I'm going to pay a little bit less. You can't say that Donald Trump didn't lie because he did on a grand scale. Okay, now the 24 million is extra. Let me explain to you how many people will not have insurance by 2026. According to the Congressional Budget Office, by that time, an estimated 52 million people would be uninsured. 52 million. What happened to covering everybody? Covering everybody who he cares about, who he perceives to be on his side. And by the way, a lot of his voters are in that 52 million, but he never cared about you. He did fairly well among whites who did not have a high education or high income. You guys are going to get hurt the most. You think he was on your side, he was messing with you the whole time. Now, let's break it down further. The agency projected that in 2018, just in time for midterm elections, 14 million more people would be uninsured than under the current law if the GOP bill was implemented. The difference would go to 21 million in 2020, which is when the Republicans' massive overhaul of Medicaid would kick in, and then to 24 million in 2026. Now, the reason that all those numbers are already disastrous right off the bat is because the market adjusts to what they know is coming in 2020, and they begin to already have actions, and people already react on their own as well. When you total all that up, that's the result you have. So, Republicans, you were so thrilled to repeal Obamacare. Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. You throw 14 million people off of insurance right before the midterm elections, and you throw 21 million people off of insurance before Donald Trump's reelection, maybe that he might still be in office. I have a sense that those folks are gonna be a little angry. I know what you think. Poor people, who needs them? They never vote Republican anyway. That's actually not true. A lot of poor people vote Republican. A lot of people who voted for Trump are gonna lose their insurance, and they ain't gonna be happy. You told them they were gonna keep their insurance. You lied to them. Oh, I can't wait to see that rage. Let's break it down further. The report also notes that financial assistance for low-income people under Obamacare to help them pay their deductibles would be repealed. So your low income, gone. Why do you need insurance? They need insurance the most. The rich guy can at least afford to get his own insurance. Nope. The guys who need the most are gonna get it the least. Now, you're not surprised by that, so let's go even further into the numbers. CBO finds that people's out-of-pocket costs, including deductibles, would tend to be higher under the GOP bill than under Obamacare because of a loosening of requirements on insurers. High deductibles have been one of the GOP's main lines of attack against Obamacare. Remember when they said, it's out of control, the costs under Obamacare out of control. Turns out, according to the CBO, no, deductibles are going to be even higher under you guys. What happened? Oh, it's because you're empowering private corporations like the insurance companies, who are just middlemen, to take even more profits off the table at your expense. Who do you think the Republicans work for? They work for giant corporations who are their donors. They don't work for you. Okay, now, there is some good news for some people here. We're gonna get to that in a second. The CBO report states that the elimination of Obamacare's individual mandate would prompt fewer healthy people to sign up for insurance, which would cause premium costs to increase 15 to 20% in 2018 and 2019. What happened? I thought the premiums were gonna be lower. Turns out they're gonna be higher. Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. So where in the world is the good news? Well, half good news, half bad news here. By 2026, premiums in the individual market for a 21-year-old could be 20 to 25% lower. Oh, that's good news if you're 21 years old. While premiums for a 64-year-old would be 20 to 25% higher. So if you are an elderly voter who voted for Trump, and there are a lot of them out there, and all of a sudden your premiums are up by 25%, more than they would have been under Obamacare. See, they can't trick you with that because you actually have to pay it. Like, they can do all this marketing and propaganda, and they can get the media to call things even, and they can intimidate them, and they can get the media to hire a whole bunch of Trump spokespeople and pay them. But the bottom line is, when your premiums go up by 25%, you're gonna know. And there's one thing older Americans do: vote. So be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Vox had one example that they found in the numbers and they wanted to share, and this is amazing. Again, if you're 21 years old, you're actually gonna pay less. If you pay $1,700 under Obama for your premiums for insurance on average, now you're gonna pay $1,450, okay? So you're gonna save $250. If you're 21 years old and you're like an online troll, you're thinking, yes, screw everyone else, I won slightly. Okay, now what if you're older? If an average person who's 64 years old, under the Republican bill, under Obamacare, so first of all, under Obamacare, let's set the standard. They paid $1,700, okay? But under the Republican bill, that particular guy, this isn't true for everybody, but this is an average 64-year-old, according to the numbers, would pay $14,600, more than half of his annual income just on insurance for healthcare. The amount is, are you sitting for this? A 750% increase in premiums compared to Obamacare. So look, you saw the averages for if you're in the older range, your premium is going to go up 20 to 25%. But some people are going to get hurt real bad for certain reasons that are in the intricacies of the bill. They're going to get hit with a 750% increase. And some of those folks, again, most of those folks are in the older brackets. They trusted that the Republicans wouldn't cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. They trusted that their premiums would be lower. That was the wrong bet. Now, Donald Trump and his acolytes can yell fake news all they want now. Me saying this doesn't matter. The nonpartisan CBO saying it, you can ignore it if you want. When they pass it, if they pass it, and it becomes law, this stuff is real. It will actually happen. So you can call it a fake news all you like, but when your bill goes up 750%, that'll be real news. That'll be real news, and it'll devastate you. So be careful what you wish for. It looks like this is what you got. Support independent media and get the whole Young Turks 2-hour show and other network shows all ad-free. TYTnetwork.com/join. Come join us today.